So I thought I'd do a video on how I add new fish. So you can see I got these two little guys. I've been floating in there for probably half hour or so. I don't typically acclimate unless the water in the bag is over like a 3-degree difference from the water in the tank. And it's pretty cold out today. I had to drive 45 minutes to go get them there and back. So they got acclimated. But yeah, if the water's plus or minus 3 degrees difference, it doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt them. It's not going to shock them. It doesn't make a difference. So what I do, most people, when they get a bucket and they get the net, they dump them in the net. I usually just open the bag and scoop them out and drop them straight into the tank. So I don't have a tripod or anything, so let me open up the bag real quick. Alright, bag's open. I don't ever, and I'd say you should never dump the water from the bag in there. And that's whether you order fish or you just go to a PetSmart or something and get them. You don't want whatever's in that water in your tank. Another thing I don't usually do. Come here, little fish. What the hell? Is I almost never quarantine a fish. If the fish looks like it has anything wrong with it, I just don't buy it. The fish I order offline, I order from one person and that's it. I trust him. I can see the fish before I buy them. See, he's a little smaller than these other ones, but that's alright. I'll show you. Let me get this other one out real quick. Alright, get this one out. Pretty little fish. There he goes. So the next thing I do, and this is, to me, is the critical part. Whenever you add a fish, it doesn't matter if you fed your fish already that day, that morning. It doesn't matter if you fed them 10 minutes ago. You put new fish in your tank. Feed your fish. Gives them a full belly. Distracts them from anything else that's going on in the tank. All they care about is eating. And fish that are full are far less aggressive. These little fish, the new ones, they're already eating. That's one thing I've noticed is if you're buying healthy fish, when you drop them in the tank, they'll usually eat right off the bat. And they're both eating. My camera work kind of sucks. See, he's chewing on one. And then the next thing, key to this, it doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime, whatever. Just turn off the lights. And forget about it. Don't worry about them. Just make sure you feed them really good. Don't worry about it. If you're one of those people that feeds once a day, once every other day, once a day but has fasting days here and there, these are the people that have problems introducing fish one at a time. They're the ones that'll tell you gotta do 5 or 6 at a time, which is not true. I almost always introduce 1 to 3, usually 1, because it's not very often the fish places around here have a fish I want. But yeah, if you're one of those people that hardly feeds your fish because you're worried about water quality, or you're worried about bloating, you're feeding a crappy food. And that's your main problem. A good food won't ruin your water quality, won't bloat your fish. You should be feeding your fish twice a day. I feed my fish like fish eating it out in the wild. They're usually active first thing in the morning, and then they're active in the evening. So that's how I feed my fish. And that's not saying that's how you have to do it, or that's the way you're supposed to do it. That's just the way I do it. But keep your fish fat and healthy, and they don't have the aggression problems that people are always running into. There's little teeny fish in here that don't get ate. Look at that little guy back there. Probably hard to see him. But there's like 7 or 8 more that size in here that don't get ate, don't get killed. A lot of these fish people say you shouldn't keep together, like similarly colored fish. There's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 Placidochromous Jollo Reef males in here. You know, I say not to keep that many males together. Same species or similar colors. Like that guy is fairly similar to that guy, to this guy, to that guy. It's all crap. Some fish have bad attitudes and some don't. I'll show you a couple other fish to go along with this theory of mine. So in this tank, some big fish. That guy right there, he's 10 plus. The other one's bigger than that. Red devils, Midas mix, whatever. They're probably half and half. It's hard to get a pure red devil these days. But I've had these fish since they were about an inch. Grew them up. They've always been with African cichlids. Fish smaller than them, bigger than them. Got an Oscar in there. No issues. Nothing. Because I feed the fish. Look how fat they are. I don't worry about bloat because I feed it good food. I don't worry about the tank staying clean. I have the proper amount of media filtering the tank. I do the properly sized water changes for the load on the tank. As you can see, this tank's been running for 4 years. 0 algae. Look at the plants. Never been cleaned. Rocks never been cleaned. Nothing. Back panel has never once been cleaned in 4 years. Front panel, side panels, they get cleaned about every month and a half. This tank has 2 FX6s, a Sun 304B. It's got a large sponge filter. It's got the Expertmatic internal filter. I clean that weekly with the water change. It's mainly just to get crud out of the tank. That's why it gets cleaned every week. It's not biological, it's strictly mechanical. But the main purpose is right here. Some people don't like the bubbles. I'd swear by it, it keeps your tank cleaner. Again, that's just an opinion, but I swear by it. I think it absolutely keeps your tank cleaner. But yeah, no algae. This is anoxic filtration. It's also in my canisters. Reduces nitrate, reduces phosphate. But fish you shouldn't keep together, kept together, no problem. I even put little fish in here. When When that guy right there, and that guy, and this guy put in here, they were just little, like 2.5 inches maybe. He didn't eat them. They didn't eat them. Look at that guy. That's a peacock mixed with the electric blue ollie. It's one of my favorite fish. He's so pretty. Sand diver. It's probably my second favorite. Maybe my first favorite, depending on the day. I'll show you one more tank. This is my kitchen tank. Again, fish that aren't supposed to be together. But whatever. This tank's been running longer than the last one I showed you. This tank, in over 2 years, has not had the glass cleaned at all. Zero. Haven't touched it. Once a week, I vacuum the gravel. Notice there's not very much. That's part of my success. Deep gravel, deep sand, even worse. Deep dirt, just as bad. 2 years. It was 2 years last month. This tank hasn't had any glass cleaning. Look at this fish. That's a Victorian cichlid mixed with a hap. I'm not going to say which two, but I've never seen a Victorian and a hap or peacock crossed ever. I've got a few of these. Got like 7 females and 3 males that I've been breeding. He's a different fish. I've never seen a fish like him. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of cichlids. I have hundreds of cichlids. In total, I probably have 1,000 adults, not counting the babies in my house. Anyways, got off topic, but that's how I introduce fish. 1 at a time, 5 at a time, 10 at a time. Hold on, let me show you this other tank. This tank right here, I don't know. I can't remember how long I've had it going. Maybe 2 years? Maybe 1.5 years, whatever. This tank right here, I set it up. Brand new decor, substrate, everything. Brand new filters. It started with just 2 filters. It started with one Aquaclear 110 and an Aquatop 110. So the Aquatop I put on that last tank I showed you and let it run for a month. And the Aquaclear I just left in the box. So after it ran for a month, I built the stand for this, put the tank on it, put the substrate in there, filled with water, set the temperature on the heater, put the filters on there, and then the Aquaclear, when I put it on, I took all the new media from it and put it in one of my other Aquaclears, and took all the media from that other Aquaclear and put it in this one. So I let the tank settle overnight, let the temperature settle. And that next day, I did that on a Friday evening. Then it got done about 7 o'clock. From 7 that night to about 10 the next morning, I let it settle. I put 25 adult African cichlids in here. No spikes, ammonia or nitrate, no sick fish, no health issues. And then 2 weeks later, on a Saturday, 2 weeks to the day, I added 25 more adult African cichlids. Again, no fish loss, no spikes, nothing. Perfectly fine. And this is kind of going off topic again, but it kind of ties into adding fish. You can add 1 fish, you can add 25 fish, as long as your tank is capable of handling it. But the interesting thing about how I did this tank is people say, oh, your beneficial bacteria. your tank will only grow enough to cycle it. And this tank is proof. That's bullshit. A tank will grow far more bacteria than needed to cycle your tank, keep it cycled. I had 50 fish in here with an AquaClear 110 that the media was well seasoned. It'd been in another filter for like 2 years. And then the other filter ran for a month on another tank. After I got the fish up to 50, after the 2 weeks, I added my internal filter, and then I added a canister on it because I knew how big the fish would get and I knew how the load would be. But again, this tank, zero algae, perfectly clear. Back panel, never cleaned. Side and front panels cleaned maybe once in a month, every 2 months. Substrate, I only use large gravel, so water has the best chance of getting in it. Because you want oxygen to get all the way to the bottom. If you're not getting oxygen all the way to the bottom, you're going to have problems, like algae. But not only do I use the large gravel to help oxygen get in there, this gets stirred not only by the fish, but once a week I get in there and I vacuum 100% of it. I move everything gets vacuumed. Do not let your substrate go anaerobic or you will have problems. But yeah, 1 fish, 3 fish, 5 fish, doesn't matter. Drop them in the tank, give them a good feeding, turn off all the lights, leave them alone. Next morning, get up and feed them again. Keep the lights off. Anyways, that's it.